calling this meeting of the regular meeting of the Providence City Council to order. Please call the roll.
Council President Matos.
Present.
Councilwoman Anthony. Councilman Aponte.
Here.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Here.
Councilman Correa. Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Iglesias.
Present.
Councilwoman Kerwin. Councilwoman LaFortune. Councilwoman Miller. Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan. Councilman Salvatore. Councilman Taylor. Councilman Jordan. You have 14 ayes, 1 nay. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. The invocation is going to be led by Councilwoman Pat Carroll.
Father, thank you for every seat that has been filled in this room today, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. Only you know what we are setting out to accomplish. We have an idea, a vision, and daily instructions. We have abilities and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning. Bless this meeting today, all those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter. Ready us to make every moment count. In Jesus' name, amen.
Invocation is going to be led by Councilwoman Mary.
Approval of minutes. Item number 3. Journal of Proceedings number 6 of the regular meeting of the City Council held February 21st, 2019.
Madam President, move approval of item number 3.
Second.
Item has been, number 3, the motion has been made and second, approved. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Appointments by His Honor the Mayor. Item 4.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item number 4 and refer to the Committee on Finance.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the reading of item number 4, and it's going to be referred to the Committee on Finance. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Have it. Councilman Taylor.
Madam President, I would like to make a point of personal expression.
Continue.
I'd like to recognize the Peralta family tonight, constituents of mine in Ward 8, Simone, Carol, and I'd also like to congratulate from the floor Genevieve Peralta. Today she became a citizen at 8:30 this morning. I'd like to extend congratulations to her. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
Ordinances, second reading. The following ordinances.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
on motion to waive the readings of items 5 through 8 and pass for the second time, a roll call vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item number 5 through 8, and those items are going to be passed for the second time on a roll call. Mr. Clerk.
Council President Matos.
Yes.
Councilwoman Anthony. Councilman Aponte.
Aye.
Councilwoman Castillo. Councilman Correa. Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Iglesias. Councilwoman Kerwin. Councilwoman LaFortune. Councilwoman Miller. Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore. Councilman Taylor. Councilman Jordan. You have 14 ayes, 1 absent. The matter passes for this. The matter is passed for the second time. Presentation of ordinances. Item 9.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
I'd like to waive the reading of item 9 and refer to the Committee on Ordinances.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item number 9, and it's going to be referred to the Committee on Ordinance. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 10, Councilman Salvatore. An
Madam
ordinance.
Motion to waive the reading of items 10 through 18 and refer to the Committee on Finance.
Second.
Motions have been made and second to waive the readings of items 10 through 18, and these items are going to be referred to the Committee on Finance. All those in favor? Aye.
I would like to be marked as a co-sponsor for item number 10, please.
Councilwoman LaFortune would like to be co-sponsor. I'm sorry, which item?
Number 10.
Item number 10. Councilman Salvatore?
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to speak on item number 10 briefly. During our last council term, then Councilman Zurier introduced this ordinance, and I am reintroducing it tonight. Recently, there has been a negative spotlight shined on the efficiencies surrounding the Providence School Department, and one in particular is related to contracts. This ordinance would increase the threshold for sole source contracts to $25,000 from the $5,000 minimum threshold, and for $5,000 for all other city contracts. I think we have a responsibility, Madam President, as a body to provide our school department and our teachers with the resources that are necessary to educate our students, and to send a message that we are serious about reforming the school district. This measure is a small step in what should be a broader plan to improve outcomes around education. So I urge my colleagues on the Finance Committee to give this item a fair hearing. During our last term, it was unfortunately held in committee. It didn't receive a hearing, but I'm hoping that we can turn this around and start with the passage of this ordinance. Thank you.
Chairman Iglesias?
Thank you, Madam President. Give a little history. This actual proposed amendment is an ordinance actually that I passed back in 2010. And just to give you a sense of the issues that occurred back then, the mayor at that time vetoed my ordinance, and the council had to band together to override the veto, because the ordinance was about accountability and transparency, in making sure city contracts that are awarded in city government have the appropriate accountability and scrutiny. And at that time back then, the mayor of Providence thought it was a bad idea, and he vetoed it, and the council overrode the veto. Now, this ordinance that I helped craft way back at that time was because of the lack of transparency, the lack of accountability, and contracts are just being plowed and applied and approved left and right in city government without any concern for the city budget. Now, unfortunately, I'm one of those folks that believe in this republic, and I believe in this legislative branch, and I believe our job is to be the checks and balance, and we are a co-equal branch of government. The numbers or the percentage, or if you look at the original, has to do with the how much a contract would come back to the council for review and approve. Well, that was a much debated conversation, and we understood two things when we decided the original original value point was that we didn't want to inhibit government, city government, to keep moving along for a certain value point, because we knew there's like the everyday expenses, copy machine, blah, 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 stuff like that. But when it came to big ticket items and above, all of a sudden, you get into problems. Now, just so you all understand about sole source, I know my council colleagues who've been on the Finance Committee the past 4 years, and the ones who are now, you've already seen the council in action, the committee in action, and accountability. Last term, we found, I don't know how many times we would find numerous violations of the state purchasing laws. They're not following what would be a single source, or not following doing an RFP. In fact, we just went to a saga where we had a director who chose upon themselves, chose to not follow the state purchasing rules, chose to negotiate their own contract, present to the council committee in finance, put forward that they claimed that their department was paying almost $1 million a year in rent, and then at further inquiry found out it was only 200 and some odd thousand in rent, in a PowerPoint to misrepresent and misguide this body. Now, Part of the reason why that contract came before the council was because of the very ordinance that's before you. Now, when we start talking about, unfortunately, the circumstances in the school department, there's numerous reasons what's happening there. But there has been no contract or no award that has inhibited or prohibited or stopped the forward movement of the school department or any department in the city government. Now, has there been contracts that the Finance Committee has exposed in the last years to show that they didn't follow the state purchasing rules? Yes. And the administration would say, thank you, we're going to withdraw it, and we're not going to award it. Hence, the contract I just mentioned about the department head who tried to put forward a contract without following the state purchasing rules and regulations. So, part of our job, sometimes it's not the most, how do I put it, exciting event, and upholding state purchasing laws and city purchasing laws on everybody's plate, but part of our obligation is to do that. I would suggest that we're going to hear this, and I'm willing to hear why, but why the sponsor thinks it's so imperative to increase the value of giving out sole source, which, by the way, that's where most of the problems occur. Because sole source means there's no one else in the world that can provide that service. And the bar is pretty high. So if you now set the bar to the value, meaning up to 25 grand, that means there's even more things that we will not know about, and more things that the public won't know about, and how and if they are following state purchasing rules and regulations. So I'm interested in hearing this, but I do want to say that as for the school department, if this is related to that, this past term in particular, I think the council has been extremely supportive of the school department, Superintendent Marr, school board, their budget requests, and in fact, I don't think the last time I saw the council act in a way to actually inhibit a superintendent to function. Fortunately, I'm dating myself, was many years ago when we had a superintendent who abandoned all our kids in the middle of a snowstorm. So the council and the public and the people and the parents felt there was a serious problem there when you had your superintendent was totally disconnected to the school department and its issues, that it was important not to have them there anymore. So we have a role. It's an important role. I'd ask my council colleagues to continue to support. By the way, this hard-fought legislation that was originally fought 2010 to fight for transparency back then before it became this catchphrase, which is now every day. We were talking about it way back when, and the Council for Accountability. I ask you all to support that accountability. Raising the bar creates and has a potential for additional problems where there'll be lack of accountability and lack of knowing. You'll never know what's going on. So if you want to stay in the dark, raise the bar. If you want to know what's going on, keep it low. Thank you.
Leader Ryan?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to also rise to speak on this matter. Question.
Leader Ryan?
Yes.
Microphone.
Sorry, can you hear me? I was troubled by this proposal, and quite honestly, I looked back to see what has come before the council in the past 4 years. Can't speak prior to that, but in the past 4 years, there hasn't been nothing that has come before the council between $5,000 and $25,000 threshold. So there would be no impact of this suggested proposed ordinance. And moreover, the items that have come before the council in the past 4 years have been items, there's been 4 items that were over $400,000. So the limit is of concern to me. But look forward to having the discussion in finance.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? May I have it?
Presentation of resolutions. Item 11, Council President Matos. Resolution authorizing approval of the following contract award by the Board of Contract and Supply in accordance with Section 2126 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Providence.
Madam President.
Yep.
Item 19.
We already moved 18 to the Finance Committee. That's okay. Item 19 is,
Mr. Clerk's going to go for item 19 now.
Item 19, Council President Matos, Councilman Correa, Councilwoman Harris, Councilman Iglesias, Narducci, Councilwoman Ryan, Councilman Salvatore and Taylor. Resolution supporting Rhode Island Promise.
Leader Ryan.
Madam President, motion to pass item 19 on a voice vote.
Pass. Second.
The motion has been made and second. Councilwoman Fortune.
Thank you, Council President. I do appreciate the effort to provide more opportunities for our young people to go to college. But one of my greatest concerns with the Rhode Island Promise program is who actually has access or who's benefiting from that program. And although I do think that it is a great initiative to increase our college graduates, but we also need to make sure that the program captures the students that are most in need. And it's not a program that would put folks who are already in an advantage and continue to widen the achievement gap or further disadvantage historically underrepresented groups. And so I think that there needs to be a bit more guidelines around this program, and I hope that that we can have more discussions around it to ensure that our students who are participating are not just using these classes to take, or not using the funding just for remedial courses that might not necessarily go towards a degree program, but it can actually provide them with an opportunity to get a 2-year degree and transition into a 4-year program so they can graduate with an undergraduate degree. So that is my greatest concern with the program. It's more around access and who is benefiting most from the Rhode Island Promise program. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? May I have it?
Item 20, resolution supporting universal pre-kindergarten and Article 10 of the proposed Rhode Island State budget, FY20.
Leader Ryan.
Madam President, motion to move passage on a voice vote of item 20.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to pass item number 20 on a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? May I have it?
Councilwoman LaFortune, resolution endorsing and urging passage by the
Leader
General.
Ryan.
Madam President, motion to waive the reading of item number 21 and pass on a voice vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the reading of item 21 and to pass on a voice vote. Councilwoman Fortune.
So this is a very exciting bill that was introduced to the House by Rep. Marcia Rankin-Vassell, Chris Massajuski, Rebecca Kislak, and some of the other reps at the House. And it's to support doulas and to provide more access to all women so they can have alternative options or have the support that they need during childbirth. As research has shown, women of color are more likely to die from complications from maternal complications that cause maternal deaths, particularly Black women. Black women are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth. And being able to have access to a doula, someone who can serve, who can provide non-medical, practical, as well as emotional support, not only to the individual, the woman, or however they may identify the individual who's giving birth, and also their families, if that's something that they would like, is it's beneficial. And it shouldn't be something that's only accessible to those who can afford it. And also, these doulas should be able to receive fair compensation for the services that they're providing. And so, with this bill, this would, or this resolution supports a bill that would not only make sure that anyone who has Medicaid can provide payment for a doula, but more women can also have access to that type of service, and they can get the support that they need, because all women deserve advocacy during childbirth. As many of us know, it's both an emotional, transformative, but it could also be a very difficult experience. And I think it's important that all people, regardless of their socioeconomic background, regardless of their race, regardless of their ethnicity, should have that form of advocacy and should have that form of support during that time. So thank you, and I hope that all of you will support this.
Thank you. Councilwoman Burkey.
If the sponsor doesn't mind, I would like to co-sponsor.
Me too.
The sponsor. The whole council? The whole council. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 22, Councilman Salvatore. Resolution
Leader
endorsing.
Ryan.
Madam President, I'd like to waive the readings of items 22 through 25 and refer to the Special Committee on State Legislative Affairs.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to suspend the readings of items 22 through 25, and these items are going to go to the Committee on Legislative Affairs. Councilwoman Miller.
Madam President, thank you. If there's no objection, I'd like to join on item 23 and 25.
Also, Councilwoman Miller, Councilwoman Kerwin, the same. Okay. Councilwoman Mary Kay Harris, the same. Councilman Durden.
There's no objection. I'd like to be listed as co-sponsor on items 22 through 25.
Councilman Durden. Councilwoman LaFortune? Yeah, Councilwoman LaFortune.
22 to 25.
That's 25.
Yes, thank you.
Mr.
Madam
Clerk,
President? Could I abstain from item number 22, please?
you would like to abstain? Item number 22. So the clerk will give you the proper documentation. You need to recuse? Okay, all right. So the clerk will give you the proper documentation. Get that? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Yeah, I have it. And,
Item 26.
all right, Councilwoman Carolyn is recusing from item 22. Please make that.
Noted. Item 26, resolution
Madam
recognizing.
President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item 26 and pass on voice vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item number 26 and to pass on a voice vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Yeah, I have it.
Boards from committees. Committee on Finance, Councilman John J. Iglesias, Chairman.
Leader
Madam
Ryan.
President, motion to waive the reading of items number 27 through 30 and pass for the first time in a roll call vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item 27 through 30, and these items are going to be passed for the first time on a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk, please call the vote.
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony. Councilman Aponte. Councilwoman Castillo. Absent. Councilman Correa. Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Iglesias. Councilwoman Kerwin. Councilwoman LaFortune. Councilwoman Miller. Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore.
Aye on items 27, 28, and 29, and no on item 30.
Councilman Taylor. Councilman Yurden. You have 13 ayes, 2 absent. The motion, the matter passes. And several matters pass, with Councilman Salvatore voting no on item 30. The matters passed for the first time on a roll call vote. 13-0 with Councilman Salvatore voting no on item 30. Transmits the following with the recommendation from the same be approved. Item 31.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item 31 and pass on a roll call vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the reading of item number 31 and to pass on a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony. Councilman Aponte. Councilwoman Castillo. Absent. Councilman Correa. Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Iglesias. Councilwoman Kerwin. Councilwoman LaFortune. Councilwoman Miller. Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore. Councilman Taylor. Councilman Yurden. You have 13 ayes, 2 absent. The matter passes. Transmits the following with recommendation. The
Madam
same be.
President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item 32 and receive and approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item number 32, and the item is going to be received and approved. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Transmits the following with recommendation. The same be denied without
Madam
prejudice.
President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item number 33 and to deny without prejudice.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item number 33, and this item is going to be denied without prejudice. All those in favor?
Madam President,
Councilman Salvatore.
I'll be recusing myself from voting on item number 33. The appropriate paperwork has been filed.
So noted.
All those in favor? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Committee on Ordinances. Councilwoman Joanne Ryan, Chairwoman. Transmits the
Madam
following.
President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of items 34 and 35 and pass for the first time in a roll call vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item 34 and 35, and those items are going to be passed for the first time on a roll call vote.
Council President Matos.
Councilman Derrick.
Thank you, Council President. I'm sorry. I thought I read the next
All
item.
right. Okay. Mr. Clerk, continue.
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony. Councilman Aponte. Councilwoman Castillo. Absent. Councilman Correa. Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Iglesias.
Aye.
Councilwoman Kerwin. Councilwoman LaFortune. Councilwoman Miller. Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore. Councilman Taylor. Councilman Yurden. You have 13 ayes and 2 absent. The matters passed for the first time. Transmits the following with
Madam
recommendation.
President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item 36 to pass on a first time roll call vote and refer back to the Committee on Ordinance.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item number 36. The item will be passed for the first time on a roll call vote, and it will be referred back to the Committee on Ordinance. Councilman Jordan.
Thank you, Council President. I'll be abstaining on the first vote on this. Taking a look through it, what it purports to do is to change the definition of rehabilitation centers in the city under the zoning code. Currently, rehabilitation centers permit or require that there be an overnight stay, I believe, in the way that this is written, the original version. This is related to alcohol and drug addiction services, but the change now includes all inpatient, and as a result also it's going to require, from what I understand, public hearings and special use permits in certain zones, which will make it more challenging to open up these kind of facilities. So I'm glad that it's going back to get a review from the law department. I think there may be I have some concerns about whether or not there are issues related to treating different medical conditions differently, which, for example, a regular doctor's office is being treated differently than a facility that's providing these kind of drug and alcohol services. So hopefully that will get sorted out and figure out what's legal and also what's good policy.
Councilman Aponte.
Thank you, Madam President. There are some technical amendments and discussions relative to those amendments that need to be made. That is why we've asked that it be passed for the first time and returned back to the Ordinance Committee. By way of background for some of my colleagues, the city does not have any role to play in the licensing of drug treatment facilities, whether they are overnight or whether they are centers that provide and distribute information, provide counseling, or provide and provide drugs and dispense drugs within their facility. All of us are keenly aware of the epidemic and the scourge of overdoses that are plagued our city and our state and our nation. What this ordinance simply allows to have happen is that if there is a proposed one and it is legally zoned, that there be a public hearing and that the surrounding community have an opportunity to be heard and to be presented to. In my conversations with the folks that do the licensing at the Department of Health, there is currently no certificate of need for these services. And that's important to note because that means that they will license as many facilities as apply for licenses and are legally zoned. Which means in our commercial corridors, there can be multiple facilities within a very defined area. You know, those of us who represent poor communities and disenfranchised communities have had these sorts of things come into our neighborhoods without much warning, without the opportunity to have dialogue. And what this provides simply, once this ordinance is passed, if a proposal is put forward and a license is to be granted by the Department of Health, that the owners of that business have to have a conversation with the surrounding community. We're not looking to ban them, we're not looking to exclude them, we're simply asking that there be a conversation between the folks who are opening these businesses and the communities in which they're opening. Thank you.
Leader Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. As the chair of the Committee on Ordinance, I would like to say that this matter was thoroughly vetted. We had a public hearing on it on Bob Azov from Planning Department, as well as the city solicitor's office were present while it was being discussed. However, out of an abundance of caution, we've agreed to send it back to the Ordinance Committee for further vetting to address the issue that my colleague has raised. So I look forward to doing so, but I do think that there's merit in this ordinance and that the sponsors have done their due diligence to make sure it's reasonable and fair. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank both the sponsors, Leader Ryan, for accommodating to send this item back. Mr. Clerk, please call.
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony. Aye. Councilman Aponte.
Aye.
Councilwoman Castillo. Absent. Councilman Correa.
Aye.
Councilwoman Harris. Aye. Councilman Igliozzi. Aye. Councilwoman Kerwin. Aye. Councilwoman LaFortune is absent. Oh. Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore.
Abstain.
Councilman Taylor.
Aye.
Councilman Yurden.
Abstain.
You have 11 ayes, 2 abstentions, 2 absent. The matter passes for the first time and referred to Committee on Ordinances. Item 37, an ordinance and amendment of Chapter 16.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item number 37 and pass for the first time on a roll call vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the reading of item number 37 and to pass the item for the first time on a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk?
Council President Matos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony. Councilman Aponte. Councilwoman Castillo. Absent. Councilman Correa. Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Iglesias. Councilwoman Kerwin. Councilwoman LaFortune. Councilwoman Miller. Councilman Narducci is absent. Councilwoman Ryan.
Aye.
Councilman Salvatore. Councilman Taylor. Councilman Yurden. You have 13 ayes, 2 absent. The matter passes for the first time. From the clerk's desk.
Leader
Item-
Ryan.
President, motion to waive the reading of item 38 and refer to the Committee on Public Works.
Is there a second? Motion has been made and second to waive the reading of item number 38 and to refer to the Committee on Public Works. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 39.
Leader
Madam
Ryan.
President, motion to waive the readings of items 39 and 40 and refer to the Committee on Ordinances.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the readings of item number 39 and 40, and these items are going to be referred to the Committee on Ordinance. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 41.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item 41 and severally refer to the Committee on Claims and Pending Suits.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the reading of item number 41, and it's going to be referred to the Committee on Claims and Pending Suit. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 40. Communications and reports.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of items 42 through 43 in receipt.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to waive the reading of item 42 and 43, and these items are going to be received. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Presentation of resolutions and congratulations. Item 44. Council President Matos and members of the City Council. Resolution extending congratulations.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to pass item 44 on a voice vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to pass item number 44 on a voice vote. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Councilwoman Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to rise for a moment of personal expression.
Continue.
And I would like to invite each and every one that's in this chamber today to our second International Women's Day event, which is tomorrow at 6 p.m. It's going to be held at the 305, our room in 305, and throughout the hallway. As many of you know, International Women's Day is a global day of recognition and celebration for the social and economic, culture, and political achievement of women. While almost marking a call for action, most of this is International Women's Day is celebrated not only but by collective efforts of all of us. So we'd like to extend the invitation, although it's a woman's time to celebrate, we would also like to make sure that our men also have the opportunity to come and celebrate as well. So we would like to extend that invitation tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
I also rise on a point of personal expression.
Continue.
I'd like to personally invite my colleagues to the St. Patrick's Day celebration, which is 12:30 right here in the chamber on Friday, March 15th, as well as the St. Joseph's Day celebration, which is also in the chamber on Monday, the 18th. There's a lot of effort and energy that goes into these celebrations, and I'd like to thank the planning committee that worked so diligently on that. So please join us. We're going to have some wonderful cornbread and some corned beef sandwiches as well as some Barney. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
Presentation of resolutions in memoriam.
Madam President,
Leader Ryan.
motion to waive the reading of item 45 and pass on a unanimous rising vote.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to pass item number 45 into the committees on a unanimous five-seat vote.
Madam President, motion to adjourn until our next regularly scheduled council meeting for March 21st.
Second.